Bitcoin can't stop dumping, but I have found some really interesting charts that say that the bottom might be in and that the dumps we are currently seeing are pure manipulation here. If we look at this very interesting on-chain data, we can see that there is unfolding a pattern, and this could also lead for a major bottom signal or sell-off signal for Bitcoin. We are seeing a really nice trade setup unfolding over on Bitcoin with huge upside potential. We will dive into that and way more in today's video, but first of all, I would really appreciate you guys to follow me over on X and of course subscribe over on my YouTube channel and like this daily update video if you never want to miss something throughout the day in crypto. And let's dive right away into the data, because I have found some really interesting things. Of course, over the last few days, Bitcoin is dumping pretty hard towards the downside. But a really interesting thing is, as a trader, we can benefit from the moves either down or towards the upside. That's exactly what I'm gonna discuss here with my nice trade setup I'm gonna share with you. But an important thing is, if you are an investor or a swing trader, it is really important to keep an eye on the higher time frame chart. And if you look at this time frame chart, this is a really interesting pattern that is unfolding right now, because the most important thing in all the markets, not only on Bitcoin but all the other assets in the market, is just per price action. And what does that mean? Trend trading, but also support and resistance. That is the movement of the candles of the whole chart. And what we can see, if you look at the pure price action, we can see that we put in a really interesting level of support right over here. So we are supporting right over there, then we put in a resistance. What we did with the trend was not shifting it either towards the upside or towards the downside, which is a really good signal. Then we create a higher low. That means that we are shifting the trend towards the upside, and eventually the resistance got broken towards the upside for Bitcoin. And then a really interesting thing right over here, we can see that the price is perfectly retesting the lower side of this range here that we have been creating, but also the top side of resistance and the resistance that took Bitcoin towards a trend shift. From there, the bear market stopped and we started to move towards the upside. Now you're maybe thinking, why is this so important right now? What we can see is we broke towards the lower side here, right over here. That was a really good signal. Then we pumped towards the upside, we broke resistance right here. We bounced from off that retest and we broke resistance. First got rejected right over here, and the second time we pushed through. That's exactly what we have been seeing right over here. But right now, second or point 4 is in the market, and it is breaking and retesting resistance. And that is exactly what we have been doing right over here. Right over here and right over here, and what we are currently seeing right now. And usually with this retest, Bitcoin started to rise towards the upside exponentially. Why? That is not because this chart just looks beautiful, but it is pure price action. It is just data pushed moves here. And if you look at the history of Bitcoin, those are the exact moments that you need to have faith in the price action, because right over here everyone was scared and everyone was selling their Bitcoin against no data. Right here with the COVID crash, exactly the same. And right here nobody believed in Bitcoin anymore. But if you just look at the price action, then this was a time to buy, then this was a time to buy, then this was a time to take profit. Then right over here, this was a time to take profit, this was a time to take profit, and this is a time to buy. Exactly the same right over here. This is just per price action. The trend is towards the upside. So everyone who is saying that the trend for Bitcoin is going to the downside is lying. We are still creating higher lows here, and for now, the only thing that matters is hold this low and start moving towards the upside, towards the new higher high. Yeah, if we break this low towards the downside, we will probably break this resistance towards the downside, and we will see further moves towards the downside. So the $78,000 is so important for Bitcoin. Eventually we are still above it, so I'm still anticipating on a new higher high on Bitcoin because of the pure price action. What has been the best signal in the market for Bitcoin? Then if you look at some really interesting on-chain data, we can see that the Trump tariffs and Bitcoin is really correcting from each other. And what we can see is that the recent tariff headlines triggered brief spikes in the exchange inflows, and that means that traders are adjusting risk and not really mass exiting. What we can see right here in April 2025, we can see that we saw a major pump after the tariff and global risk sentiment. Then right here in October 2025, we saw a big spike coming here. And that was where the correction started towards the downside. And that was the exact moment that US and China started a trade war, which is pretty uncertain in the market. And that will lead for a further downwards movement. And right now, we are in January 2026, and the rising trade tensions between the US and Europe pumped a flight to safe havens, and that is pretty normal. But we also know right now that US has removed the tariffs from Europe, and that could mean that this tension will get removed from the market. And with that tension that has been removed right here, the Bitcoin price is just so cheap, because every single time right over here we start to dump from the tariffs towards the downside, but the tariffs have been removed with the US. With Europe, and that is the exact moment that there is no uncertainty in the market anymore, and the price looks really good for Bitcoin. And we have just a 10% discount from off the top right over here where everyone was bullish, and right now the sentiment hasn't changed because no tariffs on Europe. That was the exact same thing right over here before we started to dump, but we are even lower, and this is the chance to buy your Bitcoin for a lower price. Then, like I said yesterday, we have been perfectly getting supported by the lower side of this range, and I've been calling this lower side of the range for a while here. What we saw is we took out this liquidity right over here. There was still some liquidity, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start to move further towards the downside to take everyone out of the market before the next leg towards the upside. But if you look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see we perfectly tapped into that zone. I also said I'm not going to catch a falling knife towards the downside. I really want to see a trend shift towards the upside happen here for Bitcoin before opening up a position. What we can see, and this is also pure price action, and it's really important to note, this is the point that this is our drop-off point that pushed the price towards a new low. That is a really interesting thing in the market, because this point in the market pushed the price towards a new lower low, which is a really interesting and strong point here. We have been seeing a really nice gain towards the upside for Bitcoin here, and that is a signal we want to see. Right now, we clearly need to see some more confirmations here, because if you look at the trend on the hourly time frame, we broke this low towards the downside, then we rejected this high, we didn't gain the high, so on the 1 hour time frame we did not have the confirmation to open up a long trade yet. We need to see a push towards the upside to gain this $90,000 level before Bitcoin can eventually move further towards the upside. For now, it is really interesting to see how the Bitcoin price will move further on. If we break this low towards the downside, we will probably take the liquidity under the other lows, and we will probably see a little move towards the upside then. But for me, no longs yet. If we can manage to break above and retest this level, that is the exact level I want to be opening up Bitcoin longs on the retest here. And if you want to trade those moves by yourself, please make sure to sign up on your favorite exchange through the link in the descriptions here. And if you want to never miss a move in the market, because I'm keeping you posted over on all my socials, please make sure to either follow me over on X, to subscribe over on my YouTube channel, or just join the free community with the first link in the description, and you will never miss a move on crypto ever again. The only thing you need to do is trade those moves over on your favorite exchanges through the link in the description, and then we will have a really good collaboration and we could really make a big amount of money in the markets here. Ending with that, like I said, please make sure to follow me over on X and subscribe over on my YouTube channel, and I will see you tomorrow by a brand new Crypto Daily Update video.